Hello. Happy Monday, everyone. Thanks for coming in tonight. We are working on block 54 of this, or 80, 85, not 54, 85 of the Splendid Sampler quilt along. It's this cute little airplane. Here's half the airplane here. We're going to make it look like this when we're done. And that's the plan for tonight. We started last night. We have all the pieces left cut out. Hey, Judith, thanks for coming in. And we're going to get cracking on this right away. Thanks, replay viewers, for watching, and thanks, YouTube viewers, for watching. This will go up on YouTube at Penguin and Fish Movies when we're done here. Hey, Nancy. And it will also stay here on Penguin and Fish, the Penguin and Fish page. Hey, Anna, thanks for coming in tonight, everyone. All right, I'm going to flip you around. Hi, Leah. Hey, guys. Thanks for coming in tonight. Here is our little airplane so far. We got this far with our paper piecing last night, 1 through 5. We're going to continue that tonight. We're going to finish this. I think we're going to finish pretty quickly as well. So I think I'm going to go a little quicker tonight. So be sure to check out yesterday's video if you want to kind of see how we started this blog. All these blocks are free right now at thesplendidsampler.com, so be sure to check that out, and also check out the Splendid Sampler Facebook page where you can see everyone's blocks, what everyone is doing. It's really cool to kind of see how creative people can get and what fabrics they choose and the little details they put in. If you're new here, my name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make lovely and quirky hand embroidery patterns and kits. I'm the author of Sew and Stitch Embroidery and a fabric designer, and I'm here every night at 9:30 p.m. Central. Alrighty, let's get turned around and we'll get started on this block again tonight. All right. Whoop. There we go. Okay, so here we are. Like I said, we did 1 through 5 last night. And we're going to continue 6 through 9 tonight. So they get flipped when we're done. So it'll actually be like this. So here you can see the airplane. We colored in everything so we could so when we're twisting around and everything like this, we can still manage to remember what's what. So, all right, to start out the B section, you have to think about this. Usually when you have 2 different sections in paper piecing, the numbers start at 1 again. So you have like A1, A2, A3, A4, A5. Typically, this section would be B1, B2, B3, B4, but they just continued the numbers, which is perfectly fine. However, that means we have to remember that we're treating this number 6, since it's the first one, we're treating this like a 1 unit. So 1 units on all these pieces, we do the same way. And that is, first of all, let's find it right here. So I'm going to pull this off. I don't need it anymore. These are my little guides from yesterday. That can just stay there. A little bit of glue. But our 1 blocks, we basically frame up inside our, 1 piece. This is going to be our 1 piece. And we just have to make sure that there's a generous seam allowance along every edge, and we should be good to go. Again, this is probably going to be make a little bit more sense if you watch yesterday's video. But this also has the seam allowance built in, so this 1/4 inch plus another 1/4 inch is pretty generous. So I'm going to put a dab of glue on this number 6, which is kind of, we're acting as our number 1 piece. And you're done. That's basically your first piece done. So the first pieces, we did that the exact same way here on the number 1 piece here. Your first pieces are the same, and then after you finish the 1 piece, all the other ones you treat in its own way. So the 1 pieces are unique. All right, so we're moving on to the second piece, which in this case is number 7. So I grab my ruler, and we are going to cover, we're working with the line that's in between the one we're doing now, which is 7, and everything that came before. In this case, it's 6. So it's this line right here. I'm going to put the postcard right on that line, covering up everything that came before, exposing the one we're working on, and ignoring everything else. And we're going to flip that up. And I'm going to get my add a quarter ruler. You can do this with a normal ruler too, just do a 1/4 inch, but the add a quarter ruler kind of does the job for you. Has a little lip on there that makes a perfect 1/4 inch. There, so no matter what crazy blob you've cut your shape as, you're going to end up with a perfect seam allowance. All right, flip that back. Next up is number 7. So here we go. The first thing I'm going to do is make sure that we have a nice straight edge here. It looks okay, but we want it to be parallel to that line that's going to match up to it. So I'm going to just give it a little quick trim. It looks pretty good, but a little trim never hurts. Hey guys, thanks so much for coming in again tonight. I sure do appreciate it a ton. Man, I got a new watch band and the little M keeps flopping out. Making me unhappy. Alright, so I'm going to take my little guide off here. We just glued these down as placeholders for cutting out these little pieces. That little piece is going to be fine. So now that edge we just cut here and that edge we just cut here, we are going to put right sides together and that edge together, and we should be good to go. We can do a little test. You like my fuzzy sweater? Yeah, this sweater actually gets fuzz over everything. It's kind of annoying. But it's sweater weather here, that's for sure. It was actually pretty nice out today. It got to be like 40 degrees, which is super nice for right now. All right, so for our test, we just put 2 pins in along that edge that we want to sew. I call it we're pretend sewing. And now we're going to pretend press it open. All right, I'm just kind of lightly finger pressing that. Look at all those kitties in there. It's cold there too, yeah. And what we're checking for now, this is our test to see if our piece was big enough and positioned correctly. So we need it to cover our piece, plus have a generous seam allowance on all edges. So we definitely have it on the sides, and we have it there too. So we don't need to move our piece at all, which is great. So we're ready to sew. But that's how you test it. And if you're unsure, and even if you're not unsure, you should give it a test. So yeah, I usually get itchy with fuzzy sweaters. This is acrylic, so this doesn't get me itchy. But yeah, with wool sweaters, those kind of make my skin itch. All right. So I've already made my stitch length a little smaller, so it makes more perforations. And I'm going to sew from the end of the seam allowance to the end of the seam allowance with a little back tack in there. So I just left the pins in from my test. It's boiling there. You're in the summer of Australia, aren't you? Yeah, sounds hot. Sounds like it's getting super duper hot down there. All right. You're just stitching along the line. And a little back tack at the end. And we are done with that first piece. All right, I like trimming it right away so we don't get those threads everywhere. Actually, you know what? It does get everywhere. These threads, because I drop them down here and then they get stuck on everything. But, oh well, at least it's not stuck in my piece. All right, there we are. Let's press up to the ironing board. So I always press paper piecing with the printed side down because I don't want all that toner to get on my iron there. So let's give that a press. just to set the seam, and then we will finger press it open, extend that finger pressing to the edge, and give it another press. And that's that. Okay. Next up, let's get my little pins out of the way. So the first piece and the second piece are done. So 6 and 7 are done. Moving on. First thing, get the postcard out. 8 is what we're working on now. So I'm covering up everything that came before, exposing the 8 and ignoring everything else. Fold up along the postcard. Got my add a quarter. Okay, we already have all our pieces cut out. Here is our 8. This looks kind of like a little, this curve, or this edge has a little curve out of it. No, so the bread was a total bust, and I am trying to redo it. I'm so sad, Marjorie. So I had the starter, and on day 5, the starter looked amazing, but I needed it to, I needed to do it on like I didn't have time to make the bread till like day 7, and somehow the starter just went bad, and I couldn't get it to come back again, and I looked it up, and I thought maybe it just needed more flour based on what I was reading, and, but I took what I could. I mean, it looked okay, but it wasn't as bubbly and stuff as the day before. I had split it in half. That was like my next step, but that kind of wrecked it a little bit, I think. And then I tried to make the leaven for the bread, which is the first step of the bread, which is just taking a tablespoon of the starter, the sourdough starter, and then putting some flour and water, like a certain amount of flour and water in, and it's supposed to get all bubbly, and it's supposed to float in water. That's how you know it's done, apparently, the next day, and it never worked or did anything. So it's either, I've tried it a few times after, like getting a starter going, and I think, I don't know, there was a suggestion that maybe my bread flour is too old, and it is pretty old, because I haven't done anything with it for years and years. So I got some new flour, but it's spelt flour, and I'm not sure if, and I'm trying a starter with that. I'm trying a new starter with normal bread flour, and I'm trying a starter with this spelt flour, and I don't know, I really want it to work, so in another 5 days from now, we'll see if I have a decent starter that I can hopefully try and keep living for longer. I know, so sad. And then I will attempt this bread again. So maybe, what's today? So Monday I started it. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So by Friday it should be day 5 of the starter. And then I might attempt it Saturday again. So I'll do the leaven overnight on Friday if the starter looks decent. But man, total bust. I was so bummed because it was so hopeful on day 5 of the starter, because the starter looked perfect, or at least it looked like how it did in all the pictures, and the process was described just how it looks and everything. And then when that day I was supposed to have it and then just give it like half the amount of flour and water to keep it alive, and it got a little film on the top that's apparently is called hooch in the bread industry. It looked like that. It looked like a half inch of bourbon on top of it or something, or a quarter inch of, like whiskey on top of it all is kind of what it looked like. And I guess I looked it up and they said, well, it probably needs more flour because it ate all the flour or the protein or whatever in it. So I couldn't get it back. So I'm starting over because I'm dedicated to this now. I'm gonna get it. So it's just not happening yet. But I don't know. Ask me again on Friday or on Saturday. Then I'll be Saturday would be the day that I would attempt the bread if the leaven works again. Yeah, that's true. I can buy bread. I actually don't eat bread like at all, but I don't know. This way of making bread, supposedly, I don't know, is supposed to break down everything a little bit more. You're fermenting it basically because you're making a sourdough starter, and I don't know. I watched a little show about it, and now I got all stoked about it, and I want to give it a try. So yeah, that's the story with that. The jerk butt bread, but I'm gonna get it soon. We'll figure it out. All right. So here's the orientation of these two blocks. This is the edge that we're doing, so that needs a good straight edge. Let me trim that. Yeah, that's my plan, Cora. I'm going to be the bread champion. I'll be pumping out these sourdough loaves left and right, and they'll all be amazing and perfect. Once I get this all figured out. That's the plan. All right, so don't need this guy anymore. And let's get those right sides together. And this is our last piece, guys. Then we can assemble this whole thing together. Super duper quick. Alrighty. Oop, gotta flip it around first. But yeah, I was so sad. My poor bread. So, it was looking so good. Oh wow, I think I'm getting off that line a little bit. I'm sure it'll survive. Alright. You can quilt and make bread. I cannot make bread yet. Soon. Yep, I'll just quilt and make bread all day and knit and be a proper grandma, except for the non-grandkids. I need a rocking chair too. There, that's oh gosh, what's the word? Well, I don't know. Just what the expected typical grandma would be, but not in reality, I don't think. But it's fun to pretend. Alright, oops, sorry guys, my little screen got funny. Alright, let's trim. We are finished with all our pieces here. Now all we have to do, look, it's so cute. I'm glad we got some kitties in there. All we have to do is trim. So the seam allowance is already included. I drew it on here, but it was already included in the design. In this case, yes, Little House on the Prairie style grandma. There you go. Not a modern grandma. Stereotype. That's the word I was trying to think of. The grandma stereotype. That's what that would be. The proper grandma stereotype. Okay. Words and numbers. First thing that goes in the evening. Bad news. All right. Oops. Little piece there I didn't quite get. There we go. I'm sorry it's freezing, Jennifer. Okay, last cut here. I think I'm going to use my long ruler again. It slips less. A nice long cut like this. Alrighty. So all we have to do now is, here we'll take a peek at it. Here we go. So all we have to do now is center our two pieces and put right sides together, and we actually would be able to center it better this way. So a lot of times I will do a little, I'll use the seam allowance line and pin things just to make it line up perfectly. But in this case, I'm not going to, because I don't have it drawn on here, and I didn't draw like very perfect lines. So all I'm going to do is, because I know we should just be centering these, I'm going to just eyeball both of these to the center, and I think that's looking pretty good here. And then I am going to just sew my scant 1/4 inch. So now this is where our little scant 1/4 inch comes back into the thing. All right, let's get back over here. This is it now. Feel free to pin this or throw a few wonder clips in there. I'm going to just grab and sew. Get it up against my scant 1/4 inch line. I'm going to back tack too. All right, here we go. Just double check that I'm matched up down here. Yeah. I'm going slow so I can try and maintain that straight line that I sometimes have trouble with. Okay. And here we go, and just back tack again. And we are done sewing this guy. Let's trim this quickly. So I'm gonna, well, let's peek at it quick. Here, I'm gonna scoot you guys over. We'll peek at it, and then we will tear the seam allowance out just so it's easier to press. But we got to peek before we do that, right? So there we are. I think it goes this way in the design. Our kitty cat's on a plane. Look, there's one little cat head that you can see. It's like he's in like seat 32A or something right here. Okay, so let's tear out the seam allowance. Actually, we can just tear the whole thing out at this point, I think. Let's tear everything, and then let's press this guy, and he's done. So this definitely was a very quick paper piecing. Like, you know, what time is it now? Yeah, we could have just stayed like 15 minutes later last night, and we probably would have finished this thing. So it's definitely a good, nice one if you're just starting paper piecing. Yeah, the cat's ready to go. I would definitely recommend this one to someone who's paper piecing for the first time. Yes, exactly. Way better than snakes on a plane. Unless you're allergic to kitty cats. Then that could be a problem. Alrighty. Get these big pieces out. So it's pretty easy to tear, and one of the reasons is because we had the shorter stitch length makes more paper perforations. Sometimes you can pull this at a little, on the bias a little, and it'll pop things out a little bit, but can't do it here. These pieces are big enough that they're easy to tear. So I've heard, I keep forgetting to bring a tweezers out here, but I've heard people use tweezers to pick out all these little papers, but you really don't need to worry too much about all the little papers. They'll be fine. They're not going to bother anybody. Yes, I never saw that movie either. Snakes in a Plane. I don't know. I don't know if I can watch it either. I actually don't really mind snakes, but I don't want to all of a sudden freak out about them either. Uh, so we have a little residue from our glue. Oh, someone was asking about glue. I just happen to have this glue, so maybe this isn't the best. But you know, non-toxic, washable, acid-free. Those are all, you know, perfect words that you're gonna want to look for. Um, so once this goes through the wash, this will all dissolve all these little tiny bits that I couldn't really get off here. All right, let's flip it around. Pull the rest of this paper out. Yeah, see, even seeing the word spiders freaks me out. I don't like that at all. Yeah, I would watch snakes on a plane a million times over before watching freaking spiders on a plane. Yeah, these nice big ones are easier. Oh, Cora, yeah, that's right. You asked about the glue, yeah. There, a little tug on it on the bias, and it started popping out some of these corners. Paper piecing does make a mess, though. I got all these scraps all over the place that are, you know, going to end up on the floor and everywhere. But it's worth it. I really like paper piecing. Okay, scooch all this out of the way. Oh, we didn't press it yet. Let's do that. All right, get her up here. I guess let's press to this edge, and if we feel like pressing it open, we'll do that. But I don't think so. It is. I like. Sometimes I like. I mean, I like this. I like the sound that pulling the paper out makes. But it's again one of those steps that I always forget. Oh, hey, I got to do this step yet, and I think I'm finished, but then I'm not. And then this went pretty quick, but on some of these blocks with a whole pile of paper on the back, I forget that it takes time to pull out, and then I'm just like, oh man, I want to be done. Okay, here we are. So sweet. This was so quick and cute, and it'd be fun to embroider on. I'm not going to do that, but, you know, couldn't you imagine, here, paper. Couldn't you imagine, like, embroidering little windows on here and stitching a little pilot or something, or putting your own, like, logo on the tail or something? I think that would just be so cute. But here we are, all done. Let's all trim around it quick. Let's check our it should be perfectly fine. Here is our 6.5 inch square. I'm actually a little shy, a little bit, but I think I just have to, if I pressed it a little flatter and stretched out, I think we'd be just on that 6.5 inches. But let's take care of our little kitty ears. Got that one there, and this little guy down here. Okay, now we are officially done. Ooh, a fire truck block, and this one for your son. Oh my god, that would be the cutest quilt, wouldn't it? You could do a bunch of planes on top and a bunch of trucks on the bottom of a quilt. That would be so cute, Cora. All right, all done with that, guys. How are we doing? I think, why don't we page through the unfinished paper piecing? And you know what? I think we'll probably end it for tonight, just because I have to dig through supplies to get another block going. But I'm gonna leave everything out, and we got like the whole entire time Tuesday tomorrow and Wednesday before a new block. So I think let's keep going with the paper piecing. Let's pull out what we should do. I'm kind of thinking, I'm going to throw this aside for a moment. I'm kind of thinking we should try, oh, it's right on top. Why don't we try finishing this dress block? This one has been in here for ages and ages. And I'm going to get that last little bit. I'm going to take him out already. This has been in here for so long. This is block 28. And it would be so awesome to finish it. I think we can definitely finish this by Thursday. I think it'd be super cool if we could finish it tomorrow, but there are really kind of a lot of pieces left on here yet. I don't know, we might be able to pull it off. We've been able to do maybe about 6 pieces, 7 pieces, if we go really quickly in a session, and well, this has 5 alone. Well, I think we'll get started on this right away tomorrow, I think, and then I'll have everything ready to go. We'll just get started, and we will cruise through it. We're going to use the add an eighth ruler, too, this time to do these itty-bitties, and probably these guys up here, too. So that'll be fun. I'll get the add an eighth ruler out instead of just the add a quarter. And let's shoot for finishing this by Thursday, because that would be super rad, because this one's been around forever and ever. So, all right, I'm going to flip you guys around. We're going to just call it an early night tonight. That's kind of the benefit of a cute, quick block. Oh, these are kind of funny together. It's going to be so fun to lay all these out again next to each other, because look at, should have a little airplane next to the dress. It's pretty funny. All right, I am going to flip you guys around, and we will finish up for tonight. Hey there again. So that was a quick one, just finishing that up. Let's save up all our energy to do that that dress super duper fast. I think we can probably finish it. Oh gosh, maybe we'll shoot for finishing it tomorrow. I don't know if that'll happen, but maybe. If we get close, we might just keep going and finish it up, because that would be pretty awesome. Oh, you know what? You have to assemble it all yet. So we might get all the pieces done, but then Thursday we'll have to put all the units together yet. Man, see? You think you're done, and then there's that one last little task for it. So I think this will take probably the whole time tomorrow and the next day in total. But let's get it done before New Block Thursday. So that's the plan. So all right, this will go up on YouTube at Penguin and Fish Movies, and it should go on the Facebook page as well. If you've been looking for my the Saturday mini marathon that I did, for some reason, Facebook just got rid of it. So it is not on Facebook, the mini marathon. I do have it on YouTube, but remember, if you guys were there, my computer was cutting in and out. So even though it is on YouTube, the mini marathon, it cuts out in the middle, and it cuts out, like, the whole end is gone too. So it super sucks. So I think we have the computer all fixed for this coming Saturday's mini marathon, so we should be good for that. So sorry about that, guys. But do check out the YouTube version. Most of it's there. Not quite all of it, but most of it. So, all right, I will catch you guys tomorrow. Have a great rest of your night. I sure appreciate you guys coming in again. See you tomorrow. Good night.